Hello. My name is Victor Garcia. I'm going to be your instructor for Biology 2404. This is the intro course for anatomy and physiology. I would like to show you some specific things we're going to be doing this short 6-week summer course for AP, intro to AP. Then I would like to show you first the D12 system we're going to be using is going to be, this is going to be the part D12 is going to be content for you. Then the most important thing is going to be your syllabus and your summer schedule. As you can consult here, we're going to be discussing in a minute the syllabus and the summer schedule. And the other part I would like to show you is going to be the presentations you have here. And you have 5 units to study the lectures. You have 5 units and you have 19 chapters just to study the lectures. And you have some of them recorded. You can check these recordings. They're going to be really useful for these chapters. The other part I would like to share with you is going to be the lab practical part. It's going to be the digital lab manual. It's the top hat. It's the only required and mandatory material. It's going to be, again, the only required material. It's going to be the top hat. And you have to work with it. Then first of all, I would like to show you the syllabus and the most important part of the syllabus. Let me go with you. Again, here you have the most important information in order to be in contact with me. It's going to be, my name again is Victor Garcia. I'm going to be your instructor. You can see here my email, and that's the one you have to be using for being in contact with me. These are highly recommended materials, but it's not mandatory, any of them. The only required material is going to be the digital lab manual, which is top hat, and I'm going to be talking about that in a little bit. Then this is highly recommended material. This is a textbook. Some other things, recommended materials going to be the websites for the Learning Center and the khanacademy.org. These are highly recommended materials, but none of them is going to be mandatory. The only required and mandatory materials should be the lab, digital lab is top hat. Then I would like to show you some specific things. This is the link for any policies that you need to know regarding the course here at Lone Star College. And I would like to show you maybe the most important thing for you, which is going to be the evaluation and grading. Then you can check everything here, be really fine regarding your duties as students and rules you have to obey, you have to follow in order to be following the instructions here in the course. But the grading scale, as you already know, an A is going to be if you have more than 90%, and B is going to be if you have between 80 and 89.9. A C is going to be 70 to 79.9, and a D is going to be 60 to 69.9. And in order to take any other course regarding AP, you need to get at least a D. Regarding the evaluation, it's going to be 5 lecture exams. Each of them is going to be 10%, and 4 lab practical exams. Each of them is going to be 10%. These lab exams is going to be divided into the test, the grade, in 2 parts. 70% of that grade is going to be coming from the exam, and 30% is going to be coming from the digital lab manual performance, the activities on your lab manual. And then you have finally a final exam is going to be as well, 10%. Then all of them is going to be in total 10 evaluations, 10 tests, and each of them is going to be 10%. You can get a total of 10 exams, 10%. Each is going to be 100%. It's going to be up to 1,000 points. Another thing I would like to show you guys is going to be about if you want to be dropped voluntarily, is because life happens. You can have a problem, you can have a change of schedule in your work. It Could be because you have a family problem, whatever it is, the reason. And if you want to be dropped voluntarily, you are responsible directly for it. Then you have to fill out your paperwork, and I won't be responsible for your dropping. In another face of the coin, another purpose, if you are failing because you couldn't take any exam, you couldn't attend to our activities face to face, because remember, this course is going to be face to face. We're going to have classes 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and they're going to be in our lab session. Then, if you're failing with more than 90% of the attendance, that is, if you have more than 10% of your absences with no excuses, then you're failing the course. The other thing I would like to tell you guys, we have no makeups for exams. We have no makeups for exams. Then we have no makeups for any exam. You're going to have 48 hours, a window to take every single exam, and then you can plan ahead how long it's going to be taking your exam. And each exam, if it's a lecture, it could be 2 hours. If it's the lab practical, it should be 90 minutes. If it's a final exam, it's going to be 3 hours. And for every single exam, you're going to have 48 hours window to take the exam. The other thing I would like to show you guys is going to be the schedule. It's going to be a really tight schedule because we only have 6 weeks. And you're having the whole program only in 6 weeks. And let me show you the summer schedule. Give me just a second. As you can read here, this is going to be every single week from Monday to Thursday, and you have here what's going to be the thing we're going to be doing. By the way, because I have the pleasure to receive my diploma as a master in family as a family nurse practitioner, then I'm going to be absent these 2 days. The June the 3rd, I'm not been doing anything with you. I'm going to be at Florida receiving my diploma. And in June the 4th, we're going to be starting our session at 10 a.m. Again, in June the 4th is going to be our first session, and we're going to have our first meeting at 10 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. I'm flying from Florida, and I'm gonna let you know as soon as I get there. And I'm gonna be starting my session 10 a.m. in our classroom. Again, our first session is gonna be June the 4th. We're gonna be talking about the introduction chapter, and it's gonna be 10 to 12, starting at 10. Then this is gonna be our schedule. As you can see here, you already have the dates for every single exam. Remember, it's going to be 10 exams, 10% each. And the lecture exams, they're going to be 10%. Lab practicals, they're going to be 10% each of them. Remember, most of the grade is going to be coming from the exam, but the other part is going to be coming from the lab, digital lab manual. And the final exam is going to be 10% as well. And I would like to show you as well how to access this content. And if you go over your D2L, you can check here. You have, these are the presentations, the slides, which is going to be maybe the first source of information for every single chapter. And it's highly recommendable to read those chapters, those slides, before going into the actual session with me in the No Harris building. You have, for every single chapter, you have the slides and notes, and you have a total of 5 units and 19 chapters. And for some of them, you have a lecture recording. As you can check here, for chapter number 1, you have the recording for organization of the body. For chapter number 2, you have recording for chemistry of life. For chapter number 3, you have another recording, and so forth. The next important thing is going to be about the digital lab manual. It's going to be the top hat registration. And by the way, for this top hat registration, you need a code. And that code is right here. If you go over the summer schedule again, you're going to need a code, a digital code. It's a 6-digit code. And it's going to be 950557. Again, your code for the top hat for our class is going to be 950557. And be aware of this code. You're going to be needing this number for getting access to your lab digital manual. Remember, this one is the only required material. The rest of them is highly recommended, but it's not mandatory at all. Actually, if you don't want to, if you cannot buy the recommended textbook, I can tell you we have anatomy and physiology, OpenStack textbook, and it's another option. And it's for free. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to download anything. It's for free. And it's going to be having the same information that you have on the recommended material. But I have to be honest with you. The most recommended material is going to be the one I show you already. It's in your syllabus. And we're going to be getting our questions. Most of it is going to be from this textbook. Then you can go this way and you can have access to your textbook using this free resource. It's an open source material. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to download anything. That's going to be available for you as soon as you want, and you can check these materials. It's going to be really, really important, really, really useful for your summer course. The other thing I would like to show you guys is going to be the access for the Biology Learning Center. Actually, we're going to be using the Biology Learning Center as the main source as support for your exams for the biology, for the lab practicals. Then if you type Biology Learning Center, or even better, BLC from Lonside College, and you hit the enter key, and then the first thing is always your Biology Learning Center. If you go over there, then you can pick this link, Biology 2404, which is your course. And you're going to have a series of slides, and they're going to be useful for every single lab practical. Remember, we have 4 lab practicals, and this is going to be the list for the first lab practical. You have some presentations, you have some images, and they're going to be the base for our labeling of our models in the lab session. Actually, I'm going to show you one of these examples. For example, tissues. If you're opening that slide presentation, it's going to be showing you what type of tissues we have in our body. And then regarding this, you're going to be labeling using the microscope with me in class, and these slides in order to label every single tissue. That's going to be the same procedure for knowing the microscope parts. That is going to be the same thing for knowing your bones, for knowing your muscles, for knowing your nervous system organs, and every single organ that you have in your organism. That's going to be the way to go. Then again, we're going to be using these Biology Learning Center slides as a reference to be labeling and identifying every single part in your body. Actually, let me check with you. I'm going to be checking. Give me just a second. It's going to be 25 more seconds in order to get that presentation. I'm going to show you one of the presentations we're going to have for the Biology Learning Center. And again, we're going to be using these presentations every single day in a lab session. And those are the ones we're going to be using as a reference to label our models in the lab. Then every single tissue, every single bone, every single muscle, every single organ that we have in our economy, we're going to be using these PowerPoint presentations in order to get the base, get the information. And I would like to show you this. If you check this, it could be, for example, you have here the tissue, and we're going to be describing these tissues. It's an example. This is the simple squamous epithelium. It's the one we have in our lungs, alveoli, or the ones we have in our capillaries, blood vessels. And then you have another kind of tissue here. It's going to be the stratified squamous epithelium. It's the one we have in our digestive system, mostly on our mouth, esophagus, and some other places, and so forth. And again, we're going to be using these slides as a reference to identify, to label the images that we have in our lab practical presentation. I would like to end this presentation giving you the recall, giving you remember you that we have our first session is going to be June the 4th at 10 a.m. Not at 8 a.m. as programmed, as scheduled. Should be not the 3rd. It's going to be June the 4th, Tuesday, June the 4th at 10 a.m. in our lab classroom. It's going to be room 162. That's going to be the place we're going to be meeting on Tuesday, June the 4th. That is going to be our first session. And you can check the slide and recording of this recording in order to get information again about the syllabus, about the schedule, and about your evaluation, which is going to be the corresponding part for that session. Again, I apologize because I'm not present during morning, but I'm receiving my diploma as a master nursing master and family nurse practitioner. And again, this recording is working as your class for syllabus and evaluation. And we're going to be checking the lab safety rules and terminology online later. I'm going to let you know when. I hope this presentation could be useful for you. See you on Tuesday, June the 4th at 10 a.m. at room 162 in the Winship building at North Harris. See you there.